playing TSM in the finals again. I mean, it's going to be fun since TSM and CLG definitely had the biggest drama at the beginning of the split. So maybe that rivalry will flare up, and then whoever wins based on that will be the one who made the right decision, essentially. So we're definitely not going to let that happen.
Welcome back, everyone. We've got ourselves a series here, and as you can see, Afromoo, throwing it up in the air. We'll see which team did make the right decision during that preseason roster swaps, but only time will tell as we have to watch the rest of the series play out. So, moving into Game 3, 1-1 now, teams swapping sides back. I want to get your thoughts on what changes we expect them to make in order to come away with victories. Starting with you, Scarra. Caitlyn in Game 1, you made the comment that, of course, she was able to get to power. She did have an effect. Game 2, that didn't happen because she couldn't get to her power spike. So how does CLG either ensure that happens or go with something else?
I think there's a couple ways they can do it. They can lane swap. I think one of the other ways is they make sure that Caitlyn gets a really, really good 2v2 lane. I thought they had that last game. It was a matchup that's at least skill even or like a little bit favorable for the Caitlyn and Morgana. However, I felt that Stixxay still ended up losing the lane a little bit, even before the TPs came into effect. And on top of that, once the TPs came in, they just got slammed. So I think that in any situation, if you need to be able to, that comp specifically needs AD damage, and since Rek'Sai is building only tank, Caitlyn is your way out. And if he can't get out of laning phase, their tanks can just build like MR, and with Lulu, just run over the game. All
right, so we're looking for Stixxay to step up a little bit, or for CLG to set him up a little bit better. Now, over to you, Azael. In the jungle, we've seen Svenskeren go off in Game 2. Xmithie got the better of the jungle in Game 1. Who's coming out on top in Game 3?
I think it's hard to say. Both junglers have been playing really well, and I think a lot of it honestly comes down to the draft. What are they going to prioritize? Who's going to get what? Because we saw, Graves was kind of that higher impact champion. Rek'Sai is much of more of the supportive roles, get your guys ahead, and then you're just kind of like this tank semi-initiator in the mid-late game. And Graves has much bigger impact, just like Kindred had a much bigger impact early in the game. So I'd be interested to see if Xmithie is willing to take something like a Nidalee early in the draft, if that's up, and go for that high impact champion early game, try to snowball like that, or if he wants to play more team fight, go for like the AD carry junglers, like try to guide the Graves or the Kindred again. But I think a lot of it's going to come down to the draft.
Yeah, with that pinch in the jungle pool the first time around, we'll see if that appears again. Zyrene, do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, exactly, because now they're swapping sides, so I don't know if the pinch is going to happen again on that first pick Graves, because TSM being red side, not going to happen again. I think they're going to leave more up and at least swap junglers. And Xmithie he did actually get wrecked by the Svenskeren and Yellow Star combo in the beginning of Game 1, right? He got 4 buffed, he was 2 levels down. So Svenskeren was actually getting the better of that matchup, and I think that would happen again, but I think that they need to be able to actually transition that lead and keep pressing it instead of just grouping and sieging up.
All right, looking at the mid lane, Huhi, in Game 1 looked very dominant, had great play on that Echo, was the reason why, now CLG has the ability to flex the Echo. Game 2, though, Corki into that Lulu didn't come out nearly as well, was late on rotations, couldn't match TPs. So Scarra, what's he going to come out with, knowing that he's back on blue? He's back on blue side. He doesn't get to counter this time around.
I think it's fine to go Echo again. I just think that if you do that, maybe you need to be a little bit scared about Lulu, because Lulu tends to beat assassin and dive-oriented team champs and comps. So maybe that if they want to do something like a double rotation, double tanks or something like that, they need to ban away Lulu so that it forces. Ideally, they'd want a Corki from TSM again, because TSM tends to run comps where their jungler doesn't have much CC, and all their CC comes from their support in their top lane. And in low CC environments, I feel like Corki mid needs the time to scale, and I think that's really, really bad. That Corki, I feel like, was a bait in both games, and because it felt like the impact of Corki in both games just wasn't that high.
All right, well, both teams having a win going into Game 3 means that there are a lot of questions yet to be answered. We'll see if any of them are answered in this Game 3. Now it's time to send it over to the casters to get this game underway.
Thank you very much, Dash. Yes, we are here and ready to get ourselves into Game 3. I'm so glad it started this way. 1-1 so far, so we know we at least have a Game 4, which fills me with determination.
More games than last year.
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly, right. TSM have won infinitely more games than they did in the last final against CLG. So TSM fans can be happy they're playing a whole lot better. CLG fans can still forget about the fact that, look, they won Game 1 as a comeback win, and Game 3 could look better.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we get to see an evolution in strategy here, because me and Jack, we were just talking about not only the AD carries that they were talking about on the desk, but also the pick order of those AD carries. Doublelift has played Kalista in 8 out of the 9 playoff games for TSM. He has played it every game he could get it.
So why in the world would CLG pick Caitlyn early? But as far as the evolution of strategy, the only difference in this ban phase is the last ban by TSM, instead of banning Bard, is Kindred.
Interesting. So Nidalee and Graves both up on the table, and CLG identifying that, Poppy's actually been more important to TSM than Echo has been. So changing up their pick order from what they did in game 1. Keep in mind, TSM has yet to play Echo, even though they've been given the chance to pick it a couple times here. So I want to see if that actually is important for the TSM top lane role. And if they do something like taking a Graves top lane to deny more jungle picks here in this round.
For sure. I mean, this is the big evolution of strategy. I think it's a trade pick, and it kind of has to be picked here by TSM unless they want to give the Echo and Poppy over to CLG again.
Think about it. They've already CLG have already proven that they can utilize the Echo and Poppy combo extremely effectively. So I say you make them you force them to show that they're going to use the Graves as well as you can. But Sven loves that champion so much. Wow, they prefer Gragas over Echo.
And that's
Nidalee.
That's the call that CLG made when the game 2 first pick was Graves and not Echo. CLG said, look, they didn't play it against Immortals. They're not playing against us. They don't care about Echo. It's Poppy that's the first pick. But now also, Svenskeren wants Graves more than Nidalee. More information gained. CLG got Poppy and Nid, and if they even want to Echo.
Yeah, the deeper we get into the series, the more we figure out about the team's priorities and pick spans here. And Svenskeren has put so much time in on Graves.
Yeah. At the same time, though, you wonder how many times you can go back to the same well, and picking Echo here wouldn't be a surprise to TSM. They're obviously okay with it, with the way they pick the Gragas and the Graves, and maybe Bjergsen has a champion that he thinks he can do better than last time when he had Corki.
I think whatever CLG pick, the important thing is that it has potential to impact the rest of the map. They need either a teleporter or the Twisted Fate, as they talked about on the analytics. They need some sort of global from the mid lane.
Yeah.
Again, the early...
They don't want to show their hand, is what I'm thinking. And they probably don't want to be in the reverse matchup. If Stixxay was on Kalista and Double was on Caitlyn, that lane would go even worse.
It's true.
You're just giving so much to TSM with the Kalista pick, though, because Doublelift loves it so much, he can use it to abuse you, and it enables Yellowstar. Honestly, one of the biggest things for TSM during the normal season was a lack of these big plays from Yellowstar, but with Kalista and on Alistar, he has been coming up huge for TSM. They have so many tools now.
I completely agree, but at the same time, they might not have the strategical option if they think the lane matchup would go even worse. So they almost just have to deal with the Kalista-Alistar combo, unless they finally just swallow their pride and try to do it themselves. But I don't think that would go well.
It did not last game.
No, it didn't.
I don't think either side is going to go well right now. It looks like Doublelift is way ahead of Stixxay in his mental state as well as his mechanics this series.
I think it's definitely true for Doublelift being a superior AD carry. We'll see as 5 seconds tick down for CLG to make the final situation on the team comp. And they are going to grab the Bard that was banned away in game 1. And they'll put that into the matchup. Bard, Caitlyn, definitely a scary duo. Back to the Echo mid, though, who he actually really likes this champion. And now at the Nidalee jungle, we'll see if Smithy can actually get ahead of Svenskeren.
I do like the small change that TSM made. They banned out the Kindred, and yes, they're giving over the Nidalee, which is huge. But as they said on the analysis, the stacking from Kindred was so big late game for CLG and for their team fighting presence. They're willing to make that sacrifice.
Xmithie's Kindred was actually amazing in that first game. Second most damage on the team, 22,000.
After getting down so heavily early,
But this will be super interesting. They haven't locked in the LeBlanc yet, so they're still either doing runes or okay, it's locked in now. So an assassin pick against an assassin Echo most likely. And there's also the opportunity for CLG to have an even better layered initiation from their map pressure. If a Bard ult lands, who he can combo it with the Echo stun.
Oh, man.
And it's just a whole bunch of pain.
Echo Bard is so crazy. We saw it in Liquid game, never executed quite right, but a Bard ulti lasts 2.5 seconds and the Echo W waits for 3. So you have a half-second window basically to make sure these timings line up to where you get stasis into a 2.25 second stun into a really rough team fight.
Yeah, it's an exciting evolution of these teams. We know that Stixxay is going to be going for Caitlyn whenever he can, and we also know that TSM does not favor the Nidalee or the Echo, but they go with Gragas Graves with their early picks.
Yeah, and while you're looking for that beautiful combo of the Bard and Echo working in concert on TSM side, they're going to use the Gragas to split the team up and create some chaos, create some space for Double Lift and Yellowstar on the Kalista to work in and out, and for this LeBlanc, for Bjergsen to work in and out of these team fights.
Yeah.
TSM, they will thrive in one of those team fights. Instead, everybody gets split up like that. Kalista's going to rip through you, and Bjergsen on an Assassin, Bjergsen on LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Everybody loves seeing Bjergsen play Assassins. And
Unless you're on CLG right now, because there is no good point-and-click lockdown for the CLG lineup, making it difficult to maybe even stop Bjergsen in his tracks. We'll see if they can do it, though. We are coming in at Game 3 here of the North American Spring Split Finals. A ticket to Shanghai is on the line. You at home, as always, hashtag CLG win, hashtag TSM win. You in the audience, CLG and TSM are the teams you're cheering for. We'll see who it's going to be as we get into Game 3.
And also, our 7th NALCS split final ever is now a best of 3.
How time flies,
Every decision matters more.
The mixed chance.
Yep.
The mixed score as far as the series is going so far.
Yep. And mixed damage coming across the various lanes as the... We're basically seeing shallow aggressive wards for both these teams. Aftermoon got a ward over on the Gromp. You saw Darshan get one over in the Tri-Brush up there. And kind of equally aggressive wards from TSM, at least in the river.
CLG want to contest a little bit, and anytime you have Nidalee as your jungler, you want to buy some time in the early game to get those traps up so she can get the really quick clear.
Yeah.
Smithy setting them up for himself.
Yeah, this is actually beneficial for CLG not to play a long-term invade with a Nidalee. The optimal way to play this champion is you start W for sure. You get them down across a bunch of different camps and you use them as pounce resets. And we can even potentially track Smithy on this jungle route unless we see the TSM CLG duos fight.
Wow, well, because of the deepish ward CLG got, they know that TSM isn't doing Gromp. So TSM was hoping that Aftermoon would go up for a solo harass. He does not do it, but
coming in
if CLG's able to get Krugs, it would give him a bit of a lane edge.
Yes, TSM's just going to lane here, and honestly, Caitlyn is one of the very best Krug takers because you attack from the brush and you headshot every 3 auto attacks. And you can see how quick that's going to be. After we'll make sure he gets some XP.
That's actually really big.
That's a really fast start.
Stixxay and Aftermoon should be able to abuse that level 2 early.
Yeah.
They have so much range advantage here.
They did miss 1 minute of XP, but they should still get it. Actually, I forget I think it's going to be the second wave now because they missed 1 melee.
There's a reason Aftermoon's Bard was banned in the first 2 games. Let's see if he makes TSM pay for it.
We might even get more action in the lanes this time as well with an Assassin versus Assassin matchup in the mid lane, and Bjergsen taking Ignite for the kill pressure.
Yeah.
In the first 2 games, it has been the team with the teleport in mid lane coming out ahead because of some... I love mid lane teleports.
Oh man, I love active crowds. I love big crowds like this. It's so wonderful. I get to hear myself echoing through the halls. I get to hear all the cheers for the favorite teams.
Yeah,
and
big ego boost for Freak.
Yeah.
And we get some really good games. That's usually what I like
That's
about
what I
the big
care most
crowds.
about
They're
all
here
of
for
this is
big games.
really good League of Legends. CLG actually finally getting the edge in the 2-on-2. The fast Krug start giving them the XP lead they need to make this happen. Bard also even more aggressive than Morgana can actually punish Double Lift for CS.
Yeah, they really should be able to abuse this. Stixxay getting traps set up as well, making it hard for Double Lift to hop around.
Stixxay missed.
Yep.
Not
Gets
very
both
much CS.
headshot. Oh yeah.
And Double Lift, I believe, would be at 25 perfectly. So we'll see what he actually gets at the end of this wave. But he had 24 of 25 last game. He's at 14 of 25 this time.
Yeah, but still not horrendously far behind. You got a lot of that CS.
Smithy
With the counter jungle.
getting in there very quickly. And again, Huhi, look at his teleport on cooldown on this Echo mid lane. You want to push aggressively. Try and clear the waves as quickly as possible, and then back for your second Doran's ring before teleporting back. Sometimes, if you're feeling a little lucky, you can go for the Dark Seal, and you feel like you're going to stack up. But against Bjergsen's LeBlanc,
Yeah,
advise against it.
definitely.
If you ever find yourself in this situation, viewers or chat, when you're going up
If you're
against
against
Bjergsen,
ever against Bjergsen, I'm going to go ahead and
Probably
not
not
buy
that.
snowball items. I'm actually not sure what the random crowd cheers are for now. I'm actually out of touch. I'm sorry, guys. I've missed
They're
something
just trying to get in your head, Freak.
Yeah, I'm tilted. Guys, I'm going to get 3-0 by TSM now. Hanser and Darshan still battling up at the top side. Darshan up by the smallest of margins. AD carry is still trading as well. And honestly, it's been a very equal game, except for the fact that Smithy has been all over the place. Up
Nice
10.
juke. Oh, Huhi getting a good trade in there.
Bjergsen was able to dodge, I believe, the second half of Time Winder, so that's some damage missed out. But yeah, Huhi's been actually quite excellent so far in this matchup. The early TP for the second Doran's ring, helping out for sure. And it's still going to be equal TPs. Both top laners have theirs.
Yeah. Experience advantage in the mid lane there.
Okay, Freak, I figured it out. Oh, there's a fight coming down bottom.
Here we go.
Oh,
Javelin's
the
going to land.
spear.
Dublin flashes out for the pounce, but now Yellow Star's in a bad spot. Gets away from the cupcake, doesn't want to eat that one. He's been on a diet, and he's going to be okay. However, that is 3 summoners out of TSM.
Yeah, Smithy with the early gank and the CS advantage on his Svenskeren. And you were trying to attach logic to the boos and the cheers. It's a beach ball going around the crowd.
Oh.
They're talking about. So
You found it.
there you go.
Ah, that's rewarded now.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for those meddling kids.
Oh boy.
Speaking of getting meddled with, Huhi gets pushed around in the mid lane. Svenskeren going to attack some of this. And the crowd cheers for beach ball. All right. To be fair, it is nice and sunny here in Las Vegas.
We have the 2 oldest organizations in North American esports history, and the beach ball is beating them. Come on, guys.
North American fans distracted easily.
That's true. Hashtag beach ball win is probably going to win the polls now. But it's okay. 6 minutes in. Level 6 is now in for the mid laners. Huhi should get that next wave, it seems. And we'll see if any more plays can be made. There's the ultis for the top laners as well, and the plays are being started. Look at the damage out of Darshan. Looking to get the solo kill and a hot through the explosive cast back in the turret. Stops the body slam, the flash away from the Q. Darshan up a summoner.
And let's see if they can
The
capitalize.
junglers come in now.
Smithy gets the spear.
Gets the Q, but not the pounce damage. Still running into Graves, which is super risky.
Yeah, you can tell how at home.
That's it.
Oh, again. Another flash burn. CLG up 2 of those now.
And this highlights something that we were about to bring up for Smithy. We saw him early taking away single camp from Svenskeren, but Smithy on this Nidalee has been eking out that small CS lead that we always see with the Nidalee players. He's been doing it a little bit quietly, but he also spent the time to influence the bottom lane and punish this double up Yellow Star squad. Stixxay now in a very good position to get some extra harass off on the duo.
And a 700 gold lead is only telling part of the story. Every flash is available for CLG, whereas 3 flashes are down for TSM.
A
So
lot in part due to Smithy.
yes, exactly. And there needs to be CLG to add on to this lead as well, because they have a lot of early pressure here.
And I think they're going to be able to. Early tracker snipe for Smithy will get him the wards to keep making these plays and make them safely. Aframu flexing on Yellow Star right now. And yeah, headbutted back into his minion line like a beach ball would have been. And 2 on the nose.
Freak going for that crowd karma.
She's not in this game. All right, that was lame. I'm sorry. 500 gold, still the advantage for Counter Logic Gaming as they back for BF Sword double dagger on Stixxay. Wow, he's got a lot of punishment available right now. Huhi just clearing the waves and running around. Actually now losing on minions slightly to Bjergsen, who is starting to do much better after his first recall.
Got to give a lot of credit to Huhi on his mid lane echo in these games against Bjergsen, who is CS differential-wise the best mid laner in North America.
Yeah.
Huhi's used his echo teleport and echo ultimate to always keep pressure up in that lane and keep his CS close.
And this is the second time that Bjergsen got the counter pick into the lane.
And we're seeing Bjergsen doing well with that one, a small lead for himself. He'll be up against Abyssal Scepter, and Huhi might start tanking it out pretty easily, but he still move forward in this one. 4 points in Time Winder, no surprise here. Expected looking for the invade, and the steal on the blue buff. Spotted by the
Watch out
Wolf
for that
Spirit.
LeBlanc, though,
Svenskeren
Smithy.
with a red buff, doing plenty of damage. Oh, the chains missed, though, from Bjergsen. But look at the damage output dealt to this Nidalee. He's forced to run away. Low on health, the stun coming out from Huhi, and the
Another
binding.
stun.
Nobody wants to commit because of Bjergsen. Such a huge threat on that LeBlanc.
Yeah.
But man, even going for that invade in the first place, as a jungler, you have to be very wary about mid lane champions post level 6 like that, especially an Ignite LeBlanc. Very crucial that Smithy dodged the chain there from Bjergsen. Able to get away.
Now we're also seeing Devil have to go for what's now a suboptimal build on Kalista. The jury is out, and turns out that, well, they've returned, and Hurricane First is normally the best item on Callista now, just getting all the Ren stacks on everything. It makes laning phase ridiculously easy. But because of how much pressure Stixxay and Afro have put down on Caitlyn Bard, he has to go lifesteal.
I think so much of that was because they started with a camp and TSM didn't.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
That plus the Nidalee gank.
Yeah, Nidalee gank, Bard's a better laner in the early game, and the camps start giving the XP lead. All were very big deals, and all culminated in CLG now abusing one of TSM's best performers and finally winning a lane they weren't before. Stixxay, highest minion kills in the game, is a huge deal for him because we talked earlier, at least the analyst desk did, about Caitlyn staying ahead of the curve in terms of tank itemization. Stixxay is that.
And look at the focus and vision on CLG on the bottom side of the map as well. Putting all of their wards on this side and continued jungle pressure as Smithy hunts the bottom side, zoning them off the big wave on the turret. Anytime you see a big turret like that build up, forcing the enemies out of experience range.
This is so nice. Just the threat of a dive is enough to make TSM walk back until the minion wave gets thinned out, as well as Graves showing up now on the backside, but that turret's dangerously low.
Yeah, and there's the double TP threat as well as Bard's ability to turn off a turret. So now whenever TSM is in this lane, they have to be extremely careful, and it almost handcuffs FLICKR to the bottom side for the next little while.
But he's on a ward while doing so, so these are handcuffs that are bright neon and show where FLICKR is at all times. Nice little play by Smithy there. You can basically animation cancel the takedown with Pounce. It still takes the full time for it to sort of affect the target, but you can pounce mid-animation, get out of there a little bit quicker.
Gonna get the hunt.
Grump fight.
Part on the front to be executed. Yep.
Taking some damage though. FLICKR's getting some damage across, but hey, Afromu's here. And gets 16 gold for his trouble.
Smithy's so happy, by the way, to be able to get Nidalee. This morning, talking with the guys when they were in line for getting ready for the show, Smithy talking about getting trolled by his teammates as well as the coach. Sometimes they tell him, yes, we're going to prioritize getting Nidalee early for you this game. And once they get up on stage, sometimes, you know, other things more important, they come up. But this time he got it, and he's been performing really well with it. You know, Pounce resets and everything.
It's funny because they didn't even prioritize it. He had to get it on the second rotation.
Yeah, that's true.
The teleport.
They first picked the Poppy.
All right, if it's up, then we'll let it go.
It's canceled. Who he started and canceled it. Hauntzer battling with Darshan, and here comes FLICKR in as well. He forces the flash out of Darshan. That's actually 2 summoner spells lost by CLG in a certain way. And now going back into the fight, Darshan wanted to fight a 1v2.
No mana, Gragas.
Some damage dealt to him, but Hauntzer is out of mana.
Get it, Darshan. He's going.
A lot of damage to FLICKR and Cheese. Actually 1v2ing TSM.
If that was 1 pixel closer to the wall, FLICKR is dead, and Darshan gets huge advantage up in the top side. He does not have flash, though, burned in that exchange. So technically a summoner advantage for TSM, but they took a beating.
And a turret advantage for CLG. All the time spent by FLICKR in top lane, the handcuffs were taken off, but it meant that the bot lane turret got arrested, essentially. CLG taking that down. Smithy laying down the force. I mean, Stixxay probably is the better one for this analogy, being Caitlyn, but, you know, we're getting there. Yeah.
Man, this is just such a difference from the first 2 games, really. CLG with early game pressure now, and we'll get to see if they can now execute their triple lane pressure and keep the pressure up on TSM and not let them come back.
Yeah, such a different story when the bottom lane of CLG is focused and receives all of their efforts.
Because Darshan is doing fine against Hauntzer, and Huhi, even though he's down 20 CS to the Ignite LeBlanc, has roamed a few times and is not a liability by any means.
Yeah. Well, now we'll see what Stixxay can do, because with the Zeal in and the BF sword, he's certainly going to be happy about this late laning phase Caitlyn so far. With 126 minions, still the highest in the game, doing amazingly well. And look, like clockwork, CLG bring him into the mid lane, saying, yeah, you've got attack damage and move speed. Let's go knock some turrets down. How good is Bjergsen really at wave clear?
Exactly. Now it's going to be TSM that needs to force the team fight onto CLG. Their poke and siege is very dangerous, and it's also CLG's option if they want to turn off the turret with Bard ultimate and go for something big.
And as they prep for Dragon, remember what that team fight is going to look like. It's TSM with, again, the Callista Alistar prioritized as their initiation, and Haunts are going to look to try and spread out the CLG team, create a little bit of chaos for the Callista and LeBlanc to get their damage off.
They almost have the option. You saw Doublelift get the Ren slow plus the reset on a Stixxay, but was able to 90 caliber net and slow Doublelift back and get out of range. But there was almost that option for TSM on the bot side.
Yeah, both top laners would have teleport.
Yep.
This is going to be about pre-fight poke as well.
Remember?
Back in, has to flash away from the LeBlanc, so CLG losing a couple of summoners now. Darshan's got no flash on himself, no flash or TP for Huhi.
Here comes behind 6A.
And this is not good for the Caitlyn. In they go after flash away for Alistar. A trap gets Hanser stuck as well. Played it as well as he could, but more summoners down for CLG as TSM are taking control of the bot side of the map.
It was an unmatched teleport for now, so Darshan could continue to push. Bjergsen's gonna go for the kill.
Misses the chain, but it's not gonna be enough anyway. First blood comes through. Thanks to the ignite, Bjergsen gets one. Now a big stun comes across. Can they knock down the LeBlanc? Looks like not. CLG get nothing out of it. TSM claw back in.
Yeah, TSM should be able to either pressure mid or grab the Dragon. I think the turret going down is a bigger benefit for them. Not only the global gold, but getting that area on the map.
Yeah, they're losing the pressure game pretty heavily right now, which is why they need this turret so hard. Yellowstar from behind.
Looking for the big play, and he had the pull for Saffro out of the magical journey. Who he's able to retreat though, but now it's Darshan buying a lot of time. Svenskeren stuck under the turret, doesn't quite go down though. Turret stays alive. One kill picked up with Afro dying. But top outer died already.
There's such a big difference when TSM have the ability to go for these tower dives using Alistar ultimate here and Yellowstar. They get back another kill. The turret doesn't go down though, so that's actually quite big for CLG because CLG had map control, they had more vision out, and keeping up that turret, they may be able to regain that control.
Yeah, CLG can probably keep the control up. That was kind of a really extended trade. They traded the Dragon for the turret top, and they traded kind of a death for the defense of this mid lane turret. It was a 5v2, going to be a 5v3 once they can get the teleport to come in there, but you're never really going to defend that super cleanly. They have one casualty, but they return a lot of damage, and they keep their outer turret line, which will allow them to continue to try and pressure all three lanes.
We'll see that pressure can continue then. Right now, it's the 1,700 gold lead for Counter. Logic Gaming finally an early game lead for themselves. And Hanser is body slamming away, now completely out of mana. No flash, no teleport. Teammates to the bottom right, though. He's got backup coming, but here's a teleport in for Echo, who he's going to cut out the retreat path as well as the reinforcements, and that means the kill goes over to Xmithie. 300 gold for him, assist, and a double bar ulti into the Echo stun. It catches double lift, so out goes Yellowstar. Has to run away, but CLG finally get kills on the board.
They have pressure mid lane as well. They're going to need to wait for that extra minion wave to come up, but double lift and Hanser being down. Hanser's teleport not ready means that CLG can press up here, try and take out the last outer turret.
Yeah, map pressure through and through right there. Hanser was trying to get some back in the top lane, but he had no turret to run back on, ended up running down the river, and it gets double lift killed on top of that. This is now going to be 3 turrets to 0 if they can finish the push.
They're getting some damage down, but the minions are gone, so even if they wanted to stay, backdoor bonus is back, so it would take 1/3 the damage, and that's just not worth it right now for CLG, so they'll wait for the next one.
We've seen this before. The mid lane turret of Team Solo Mid standing with 150, 200 HP.
This one, it's 190. And here you can see, yeah, the TP double says, nope, can't do it.
Yep, pushes double and Yellowstar back. Aframu sees who he's there. Bard ultimate to cut off the retreat. Perfect placement.
Into immediate Echo W. You see the timing right there. He knows to put it on right away.
Yeah, a little bit off there with the binding not being able to land right out of it perfectly, but
clutch for double lift to actually ult in the split second he had outside of stasis and the stun.
Yeah.
So the Yellowstar could throw himself out of there.
Yeah, that's really good. Unless Echo actually W's before Bard ult lands.
You can't chain it perfectly.
Yeah, so it's worth it for him to wait for the hit confirm either way. Half second's not a lot of time to run around.
yeah.
Meanwhile, getting wrecked.
TSM did take Dragon during that replay, even though they haven't been able to take any turrets, and there is that standing gold. Dragon does mean a decent amount for them.
It means some, but it doesn't mean 4,000 gold, which is the lead that CLG has right now. Again, Counter Logic Gaming fans can feel real good about how the series is going so far. A lead in Game 3. So far, early game has been the biggest asset of TSM so far. Another great red belt steal by Xmithie. Has to flash to not get knocked back into the team.
Yeah, good flash there.
But it's still a flash down.
Just trying to keep the pressure up. 4,000 gold. Flash down, but he avoids the kill, so I think it's still worth it because they get some of the deep pressure.
And Huhi took no damage from that trade. Just his W shield is enough to block the basic Bjergsen combo. Abyssal Scepter Echo is down 43 minions, but honestly, that's fine with how much the rest of his lanes are all winning. Here's the next attempt, and it catches double lift. Yellowstar walks in to eat the trap and then gets away. That was actually a player-saving move right there, even though it did set up a potential cosmic binding. He ate the cupcake for double lift.
Yeah, I mean, he's repaying the debt, right? Double saved his life before. Last time they got Bard ultimate. This time, Yellow Star steps in to save Double Lift.
I think Afro probably could have landed a Cosmic Binding, though, so I'm not sure if it was...
Yeah, the teleport came in from Haunter, though, so CLG didn't want to all in on that fight.
Oh, that one hits, though.
I think CLG is very content playing this one out and only going for the sure thing plays because they're so much more comfortable in these situations.
Yeah, and they're still doing the rapid fire cannon, BF sword, Caitlyn build, just running around the map with Swifties, rotating as fast as you can, and if you get 300 damage, that's enough for you.
LeBlanc very slowly takes those turrets. Also doesn't have teleport, so whoever comes down, she's going to need to threaten with kill pressure, but Huhi has been able to hold his own just fine. He got the early Abyssal for that magic resist.
Of course, the risk of CLG's rotation strategy is if they do get caught out by Bjergsen, who's in the Fog of War and one-shot someone on the Blanc, or the multiple initiation options that TSM has. Haunter was ineffective at the end of game 1 with the Gragas initiations, but if he gets the right one onto Stixxay, it can be game-changing, or even onto Xmithie's Nidalee, who's still a relatively squishy target with just the Giant Spell.
Definitely true. Still no completed Rylays. Walks right into FLICKR. 1 level lead for Xmithie, but he walks away anyway. Red buff is scary on a Graves. Just walks back. A little bit of poke from Aframu, walking away from Bjergsen here.
Bjergsen basically the full gold lead manifesting itself in Sork shoes and the Amp Tome, I guess, kind of canceled out by the extra Doran's ring there over Huhi, so does have the extra mobility.
And it's going to be really interesting to see how Bjergsen plays the siege situations, whether he's willing to aggressively distort in and get threatened essentially by a Bard ultimate on his return place. Because that's one of LeBlanc's greatest strengths, the pre-fight
Look at this move here from CLG. They're committing everybody up top to make a hard push on the secondary turret.
They're definitely first on the move. This is going to be a
TSM
lot of
way
damage.
ahead. TSM cannot answer this. They have to defend inhibitors because there's no other option for them. They can't be...
Yeah, they just walk up slowly. They didn't leave Graves in the mid lane. Now he is back there. FLICKR's going to hold that one.
CLG actually have so much momentum right now because there's an early rush of distortion upgrade on Darshan's boots.
Ooh.
So not only do they have the extra teleport, but Darshan's will come off cooldown much quicker.
Yeah, they have a 2 teleport advantage right now, but they didn't even need the teleport to make that move. They are way ahead of TSM.
And now Boots of Lucidity for Huhi, so another 10% CDR on his summoner spells as well. So again, twice the teleports, and all of them go on lower cooldowns than TSM's.
Blue side's looking to swap games here for each team. TSM won their blue side game. Now it's CLG's serve, and they're looking to take it as well. Pretty good map control. TSM have been able to get a decent amount of defensive vision up in their own jungle, though, trying to stop those movements between turrets that CLG are so fond of.
Yeah. But CLG have still made this game a 4-0 turret game. The Bjergsen split push got nothing done. You can see Darshan always sent to the correct side lane. Huhi the same. And whenever CLG deems necessary, Stixxay and Afro run around. They almost got the Q binding. On the here comes the flash, knock up the double hit, and here comes the ball to just save him for now, but is there enough re-engage? I don't think so. They're trying to get away. Xmithie does hop out, but there's the deletion. Caitlyn is gone. Now a 4v5. Into the back line goes Huhi, picks up double lift, and hooks right back out, but Darshan is still wreaking havoc in the backside, looking for more. Yellow Star's low, Xmithie's low, a double kill though for Huhi, and he's gonna keep on going. Xmithie running and bouncing for his life. Again to the back line, Huhi goes down to a turret and a Haunter, but the chase continues in. Darshan gets yet another, a 3-for-2 in the favor of CLG. Oh, misses from Haunter. Flash away from Aframu, and Darshan just doesn't take damage anymore.
And that was about 50 HP away from being a 3-for-3 even trade. Xmithie barely escaping with his life there on Nidalee, but being able to heal himself back up and return to pressuring side lanes.
And Darshan returns to pressuring mid. Aframu can look for the binding, can look for the stun, can look for the damage. They might try to get Haunter. It's going to be close. Just the slow, they won't get any more.
Aframu bought so much time for Stixxay and the rest of CLG to make that collapse with his Bard ultimate. Fight changing right there. And then, watch for this, TSM couldn't chain out of the Bard ultimate with stuns on Xmithie and Stixxay. Haunter body slammed it early right there. And TSM has to burn so many resources to finish off Stixxay, which they needed for Huhi on the backside of this fight.
Yeah, Huhi on the AP Echo, once again coming up very big for them in team fights. Bjergsen barely escaping right there until Huhi finds the right clone.
And then Svenskeren couldn't finish off Smithy. That would have been changed if Hansar had the cleaner initiation out of the Bard ultimate, and Darshan was a monster here, and they keep the pressure up. TSM was going for Dragon, CLG's going for the big snake.
Oh, this is the big one. Here we go. 5 doesn't have left on it right now, but there's plenty of damage being dealt here. The smite is available for Smithy, and no one's in range in time. What a great play by CLG, picking it up cleanly with no one even in range of him.
Well, the Porcupine Dragon's going down, but that's just going to be a consolation prize for TSM. Because they probably won't be in a position to stack dragons this game. They're so far behind in gold. CLG don't care about giving away those first two. Now they can easily regain control. Oh, Smithy!
Sending too long on the wrong side of the neighborhood, but no chase going to be available. Does get to jump away. He's losing some wards for his time.
Yep, great call by CLG. I agree with Kobe, that dragon was irrelevant in the greater state of the game. CLG will be looking to split push TSM to death now with Baron buff up on everyone on their team, and because Stixxay has the item advantage on Doublelift and is pacing ahead of TSM's tank itemization.
Plus, Baron buff means they get to siege up with Caitlyn. Stixxay is going to bring his traps, set up the line, try and corral TSM into an ordered area. CLG benefit from order in this game. And it's going to have to be a crazy ultimate from Hansar to get someone under turret.
They have both the top and bottom lane shoving.
Oh,
they're on wards. Afro ult into dive.
Yeah, so Afro is set up to make a huge play here.
They're going for a collapse, actually.
Who
needs the split push?
But there's the attempt. Ulti hits Svenskeren. Here comes Darshan. Looks for Devil. Gets some damage down. Here's Hansar on the other side of this one. Darshan getting low on popping. Yellowstar now buying as much time as he can. Fate's called back out.
Get Darshan!
Darshan the Porcupine goes down. The rings scatter everywhere. But here's the re-engage. Yellowstar goes down. Stixxay is free hitting. And he gets a second one. Now Svenskeren low. Hansar running away on the right-hand side as well. A 2 for 2. All said and done. Make that a third as the snipe comes through. The Danes.
Fights are so close, and CLG, even though they started out with the Bard ultimate, it was actually TSM who got to focus fire on Darshan without DPS being put onto their front line here. CLG, though, in the end, with the Baron buff, going to be able to take out the extra turret in the aftermath, plus coming away with the extra kill.
Yeah, the 7,000 gold lead will only get a little bit bigger here for CLG, but considering it was a 7,000 gold lead and TSM were on wards to start that, it's kind of miraculous that they were able to fight that well, only losing one turret and one extra kill in this fight.
And a big part of it is Yellowstar, again, sacrificing himself. So watch this, they zone everybody out. Yellowstar is going to go in with the Alistar and pop his ultimate and try and hold them off while TSM take down Darshan. TSM does everything on Darshan. The ultimate from Doublelift brings Yellowstar back in for the extra knock-up, and Doublelift barely getting hit with Smithy going a human form right there, barely getting off the spear, but that was crucial for CLG.
Towards the end, and then no one's able to tank for Svenskeren at the very end of that fight. Otherwise, it could have actually been a 2 for 2.
Yeah,
really,
that was actually
CLG got trapped behind the wall that they wanted to initiate over for a while there.
That was actually a pretty clutch spear there from Smithy, you know, going human form and getting the spear out past Gragas, who's a very, very big boy. Model almost overlapping there.
Good stuff. A good play by Counterlogic Gaming, who sit on a 8,500 gold lead now. It has grown. The Baron power play, not a bad one overall. And we still sit in a game where TSM has gotten 0 turrets at all, which means if they do win a fight, there's plenty of gold sitting on the map, about 800 apiece for an outer turret. A good fight could put TSM back into running, but right now CLG have done a much better job of controlling this game. And we'll see as the bot lane siege begins. The flash play. Stixxay going to be saved for now, but how much longer can he really survive? Oh, he flashes away from it. He's going to be okay. But here comes the re-engaging teleport. In comes the Huhi on the bot side. Looking for the play, but pushed around. Has to ulti. Just gets the lead. Stixxay gone. And Stixxay's gone too. Here goes TSM. Looking for the big plays. Bjergsen has been dropped thanks to Darshan's hard work, but it's a 3 for 1.
TSM played pinball with Huhi there. They take him out at the very beginning. Huge team fight victory here for TSM. Let's see how much of that standing gold they can get back.
How much gold does TSM have to be down and not be able to go for some team fight wins?
Oh, man.
Their initiation and tanks are doing huge work in these fights. They completely crush Huhi and Stixxay.
Aframu almost saved it there. He's been showing really good offensive and defensive use of this Bard.
Is he going to take it through? No.
I don't think he's that.
He wants the turret. They get a turret on the bottom side.
Okay, bot outer. Mid gets defended by the two-man group of CLG. TSM had split 1 mid, 2 bot. And the Owls are roaming up. Only
So,
1 turret.
Hanser here sees the opening. Stixxay walks a little bit too close.
The preemptive ultimate does buy some time, and it's really hard for Pulverize to time, so Stixxay escapes for the time being, but he flashes right into Hanser, so he can't actually DPS in this fight.
Yeah.
Then you have to track Bjergsen around the back of this fight, who's just
Watch
waiting
Yellowstar and
for his
Hui here.
opportunity.
Knocks him over, then Hanser gets the knock up, and Graves gets the execute. Hui's already toast.
Yeah, that was really good team fight teamwork by TSM from such a goal deficit to be able to pull that
If
off.
one of those knockups or knockbacks does not overlap perfectly right there,
Hui can ult
Hui
out.
gets
And he
off
goes
his
back to top
ultimate,
lane.
and it's a huge, well, yeah, was it 4 seconds?
I think it might
I think it was still 4 seconds, but the extra kill coming through.
Yeah. I mean, either way.
That is
though,
always something you have to keep in the back of your mind. If you have to blow your ult so early after teleporting in,
Either way, though, definitely.
especially for those AP echoes that are not as tanky.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and a game that was looking like CLG was just going to control the map the whole time is starting to becoming a little more questionable. And now that second dragon that was irrelevant at the time for TSM might be the catalyst for them to get more team fights. If they can get CLG somewhat grouped up for those dragon fights and get another flash initiation from Hanser, who's gone distortion boots to make those more frequent, that's TSM's win condition.
Those are going to be hugely important. Stixxay with the 3-item build now. 80% crit chance Caitlyn is real deadly. It's going to be huge team fight DPS if it can happen.
Yeah, he's down both summoners now, so he's really going to have to respect the front line from TSM. Both Yellowstar and Hanser have shown that they are more than proficient in creating these plays on both Gragas and Alistar.
Looking for the play on in,
Here's
though.
the
Have a
flank.
pull with an afro. Who he gets the stun across. Only a couple members. And the Bartleby locks
that's
up
huge.
3 of the backline.
Oh,
How much
the
follow-up
binding.
there? They stun up Svenskeren, who's able to dash away, get the locket shield, and now run. And Doublelift is the first kill of the fight. It's now CLG 5-on-4. Bjergsen zoned away. And here comes the big chase. Here come the kills. Hanser going to be the next one down. Darshan's still alive. Xmithy choosing which way he wants to go. Yellowstar takes an ultimate, but now CLG with the lead, pushing in farther. And they're forcing TSM to take the long way back. Zonya's by Hui, but could take plenty of damage from Svenskeren. Getting pushed around, but only goes over the wall. So Yellowstar staying alive.
Bjergsen gets
Here
Stixxay
to the deletion onto Stixxay, but it will be another one traded back, and Hui takes one down. Yellowstar also going to fall, so Bjergsen, the last one alive for TSM against 4 from CLG.
This is madness, freak!
No, it's Sparta, and it's Doublelift. They already did, but it's Bjergsen getting the solo kill. What a beautiful play.
Barely saving TSM right there because that fight was as close as you can get to a disaster for TSM. They get initiated on, they all get caught in the Bardold. Bjergsen waits a whole bunch in the side brush trying to get assassinations, but now CLG's going for Baron.
Yes, but in the end, CLG's still going to be able to get the Baron after that, and that is what's important in cracking the inhibitor turret line. Doublelift, I don't know, there's no way he gets a miraculous steal here.
No. He tried.
It was a little bit close.
That would have been miraculous.
That would have been miraculous.
I was like, no way.
Oh man, so another turning point in this game. Just as TSM was looking like they're coming back.
That binding
CLG
from
gets the fight.
Aphromoo.
Binding.
Or no, not even that one. But here, he sets it up with the ultimate first. He's going to get both of the AD carries on TSM.
Oh man, and it just keeps Doublelift out of the fight. He DPSs and allows Hui time to come in, and Darshan dive in really fast.
Playing
But then
tag
Hui
team.
pops his ultimate at the end, and here's where Bjergsen, he's trying to be as patient as possible. He thinks he's clear from wards here, and he's waiting for a squishy to come over the wall. Hui is really fast on his reaction here. Watch as Bjergsen tries to assassinate him. He's zoning says, as soon as Bjergsen goes over, makes him
But then he
pop
gets
back.
Stixxay. Stixxay walks right into the same thing.
Distortion, short cooldown.
you are.
Stixxay has to see
Auto,
that play coming.
And the E comes out.
And he didn't need to be in there for them to win the fight. CLG could handle Svenskeren.
Yeah. Definitely a death that didn't need to happen. But either way, it was still a good fight. And then this, it's not madness. This is Bjergsen.
Yeah.
Well, just to make it more exciting.
Hashtag just LeBlanc things.
The hype W. Yeah, the missed point blank distortion. Either way, Hui really should not have been up that far, knowing that even with the missed W, not respecting Bjergsen's damage there at all. Speaking of which,
Oh, man. All right. Well, it's the flash
Ben
to
gave
run
him
away.
an exit, actually.
he's got the challenging spike burn on him. He can probably finish the kill.
Ulti.
Poppy.
Oh, he's got to land the auto attack. He's not got vision. He's out of
Poppy
range. The
passive.
jump. He doesn't
Too
have
fast.
it. He doesn't have it. Oh, my God. You're kidding me. Darshan lives.
Oh, Sven gave him
Ulted
the way
early.
out, and oh my goodness.
That's a hard
He's going to be kicking himself for that one.
Every little bit counts when TSM is down 9,000 gold like this and pushed right up against their base down with 5 turrets. That's a heartbreaker to not get that kill.
Wow, this Guardian Angel pickup here from Smithy. He's really looking to use the melee form of Nidalee. Constantly jump in there and make use of the Iceborne as well, I guess. Trying to have more teamfight presence.
Look at what who he gets to do here. He shields for about 1,000 HP, chunking out Haunter a little bit. Dragus down to half health. He's only sitting on Spirit Visage as a magic resist item. He definitely is a very real damage threat here. And here comes the mid lane siege. Baron buff still on. CLG running away.
Teleport being used as well. CLG want to keep up the pressure. He goes top with it. They're closing in. They've got the ward lines. They have Darshan and Aphromoo Baron buffs still up. Stixay's packing up the traps. Gonna lay him down here on the front.
Very
Gotta respect Bjergsen.
Sieges.
You notice that Bjergsen has to take these really weird angles of distortion to not get Cosmic Binding into a wall. That's what Afro's looking for every time.
That's the only thing he really has to worry about.
And once the first half tags him, whether you distortion or not, if the second half hits a wall, you're stunned. Doesn't matter where you went afterwards. So if Afro does land the front half of the queue, that can be a stun to Bjergsen and a follow-up kill. Something you have to respect here on TSM. CLG, only one rough team fight that put a dent in their gold lead, but got right back in there. Definitely a huge lead for the defending champion. CLG looking to make this one.
Second.
A 2-1 lead.
Yeah, I mean, Stixay right now, look at him. 4 items completed plus the elixir. This Caitlyn's feeling very, very confident. He's got Mercurial active plus Aphromoo also has another active to get him out.
You've got
the Mikhails.
Aegisaur and the Mikhails, yeah.
And the tankiness of Darshan's Poppy as well is going to make it really difficult.
It's a
take him down in the fight.
Basically 4 offensive item Caitlyn versus 3 offensive item Lista, with double lift going QSS as his half built.
And it's the same for the tank items. It's like a 3.5 defensive tank items from Haunter to 4.5 defensive tank items for Darshan. Just, it's the 8,000 gold showing up in the inventories.
Which is
here.
Which is the important part. Guardian Angel also in for Smithy, so he can go super hard as Nidalee. And he's totally going to be fine. Plenty of cooldown on him. He even has an Iceborne Gauntlet. Just hedging his bets since he's already got an AP mid laner with the Huhi on the Echo. Here comes Dragon 2 for Counter Logic Gaming.
TSM actually, they're going to commit everything. Even Bjergsen's coming down. This means that CLG are going to get pressure on top and bottom.
They might just take 2 inhibs right now. They can give up this Dragon for turret pressure, which is what they're going to do.
They're going to run away with Magical Journey. Afro have to be a little bit careful to not get picked off there. Will not get the steal on Dragon.
And now they're going to try and interrupt recalls as long as possible.
Here we go. Bot lane to fire, top lane as well. Top lane turret is down, bot lane turret is down. That's 3 turrets so far for the TSM
deep
Dragon.
teleport.
The macro play happens. Smithy got popped though. His Guardian Angel's down. Ulti on Bjergsen. This could be the fight. This could be a really big deal. Looking for the stun. And now FLICKR cannot get the snipe on Aphromoo. His ulti's down for this one. Now Darshan gumming up the works, messing with this Graves so heavily. Knocks him into the air. Now the chain's going to come off Darshan dangerously low, getting hit once again by this Graves.
So chaotic
on the right side, there's still more going on. Huhi low on mana, and they have picked up a The stun on the double lift. It's 3 kills picked up for TSM. They're going to get 4. It's only Huhi alive. He's trying to run.
Remember when I talked about TSM thriving in the chaos this game? We had to zoom max range and still couldn't see everyone in that fight.
That's the thing. CLG is the one that forced this play and theoretically should be the most comfortable in it. But TSM Response gets 5 kills for no deaths. They do lose outer turrets, but they get Dragon and they equalize the gold. What a play.
TSM with a late game team fight with 38-minute death timer. Let's see what they get out of this one as we watch this fight again. It's Smithy getting popped, forcing
this was so much a team fight. It's in so many different directions. It's like 4 skirmishes happening at the same time. How often do you see this? Sven can't get the XQ, but he continues to DPS. And when his mob procs, he gets enough lifesteal that the Thornmail can't kill him, so he can keep damage. On the backside, though, Doublift is untouched, and he was able to rend stack up the rest of CLG. So when they do collapse his 5, TSM could clean up.
Yeah, he got the good Quicksilver activation this time, get him out of that stun, and continue lifestealing back up. Bjergsen also did work poking over that wall. Huge, huge stand there for TSM and hold for them.
And suddenly the turret score is 5-8. Baron was off the map, so was Dragon, but it meant mid lane inhibitor is now open.
Another
Two is dead.
Guardian Angel picked up for CLG though. Darshan now gonna have the extra life.
All right. Well, CLG, I wonder how worried they have to be. The gold lead is now under 5,000, and they've lost a couple of fights now. TSM actually have the kill lead. CLG should know they're ahead in gold because of the Barons, because of the turrets.
But it's dicey in the 5v5 team fights. You have to watch to see if Stixxay can get DPS and if who he can get a good flank off, because if those things don't happen, TSM is advantage in the team fights. Bjergsen also is trying to get pre-fight poke, but if he gets caught by a Cosmic Binding or a Bard Ultimate, it could also be game over for TSM.
And remember, even though they have a Quicksilver for Stixxay and the Mikhails on Aframu, these are all the backups.
It has to be a fight here.
They're going for the play. Yellowstar at half HP already. Here comes the ult again for Darshan. Doesn't hit anything. Still holding the front line though. Huhi in the wings and Bjergsen on the bottom left as well. CLG retreats back to the mid lane. Lifesteal's back to full HP. They re-engage on towards Darshan. Poppy's down to 1,500 health. Huhi gets a shield, but gets chunked back out. Where's the big play going to come in? They knock in the team. Afro's left alone. He's going to put the ulti in and stay alive for now. And Svenskaren's dangerously close to death. But Double gets the first kill. The 5v4. CLG looking to go back in. Ulti from Yellowstar. Haunter dangerously low though. Huhi has to ult back in to stay alive. Almost gets double lift. Yellowstar low as well. Double with the second kill of the fight. And there's another kill picked up on towards Haunter. No! It's Stixxay with a triple kill. He's gonna go for more. A 2-on-2. Can he do it?
If they kill Double for the game!
They're gonna shut him down. That's it. That's everybody. And it's only Stixxay and the reviving Darshan to try to win the game.
Stixxay actually kited Double Lift and Afro so well in that team fight, and he's gonna be there for the kill of the Nexus in Game 3.
You've got to count the minions. They have to make sure they do this one right. You can theoretically misplay this push. Darshan
There's
is tanky.
35 seconds left on spin.
30 seconds, a super tank. He tanks up. Even if Darshan dies and Stixxay gets some minions here, they got this.
Yeah, here's the next wave. They've got the Caitlyn, they've got the damage up, but here comes the game-winning push, and the respawn timers are just too long for TSM, and so Counter Logic Gaming will lead the series 2-1.
These fights are insane, this series.
Amen.
Yes,
CLG, they focused bottom lane hard in the early game, and Stixxay rewards them late.
The whole game, Stixxay wasn't able to get those team fights off. What's he gonna do with that 4-item Caitlyn? Why are they gonna continue to pick that? But in that last fight, he sticks around the back. He kites Yellowstar and Double Lift so well on the side of that fight when all the chaos was happening.
And he out-crit Svenskaren, because the Graves is tanky, but he outranged him, forced him out of the fight as well. We'll take a look at the replay, I'm sure, in the future, but man, those fights, we have to look at the replays because of how spread out they were. While we were focused on one AD carry and a completely different story going off on the other side of the team fight.
I mean, we said coming into that final fight, what were the key moments going to be? Can Stixxay get his DPS off? Will Bjergsen get killed early? And how was the initiation going to happen? It was a combination of all the things. Huhi got an Echo Ultimate off to Double Lift for a lot of DPS that pushed him out of the fight a little bit.
Especially with the purchases of Guardian Angels from CLG means so much in these spread out team fights where you get that time to revive because they can't immediately collapse on you.
Yeah, Darshan getting to actually tank the inhibitor turret itself and revive with Guardian Angel. If he wasn't alive to tank the first turret there, I think the minions die a little bit faster, the push is a bit slower. There was even the potential that Stixxay couldn't have closed the game out just because of the minion wave being so thin, but all those factors came into play, and of course it did work out.
So, blue side wins again.
Sure.
Yeah, totally because of the map side.
That's all the only reason. Well, now the pressure is back on TSM because it's game point for CLG.
Yeah.
Set point.
And I think Nidalee is a huge factor. I think Nidalee is a huge factor for this one. The blue side's second round Nidalee is such a rarity to actually get a champion that strong so late in the pick and draft order, but that was the bet that TSM made was, well, okay, you get your Poppy, whatever. We'd rather have the Graves or Svenskaren. But the early game was so good for CLG. They finally had a good early game. Smithy was able to out-jungle Svenskaren in camps and out-gank him and burn more summoners. And that was a huge early game for CLG.
The early game was spectacular. And a lot of that just had to do because Stixxay and Afro were able to hold against Double Lift and Yellowstar and actually push them in, which let the rest of the map win as well.
And you guys saw the gold graph. CLG were in control pretty much the whole time, but the team fights would tell a different story. As TSM fought tooth and nail.
TSM ended the game with more kills. Like
Crazy.
that's the crazy thing about this. TSM
Let's move
did
on
that.
to the next one.
We are going to move on. I'm ready for 1 or 2 more games. It's going to be great. So for now, we're going to send it on a dash to the analyst sets to talk about the game some more.
Thank you very much, Freak. We are ready for 1 or 2 more as well. But first, I want to take another look at those fights. As Kobe mentioned, we need to take another look at those last couple fights. So we're going to start with the one that won the game for CLG, the very final fight. And I'm going to hand this off to you, Azale. Try and walk us through all the craziness that happens here. I know there's a lot to take in.
I mean, it was a pretty insane fight, and we can roll it. But basically, this fight breaks into a lot of different skirmishes. Obviously, you know, they're talking about double it, how important he was as the AD carry. And here, as they are going in, Stixxay is trying to move forward. You can see Bjergsen sneaking around the backside. As Stixxay sees this, and he has to play not close to Bjergsen. He knows if he ever gets close to him and he gets popped, that's how they lose the fight. So you can see Stixxay pulling back. He's playing it very, very patiently. And following him throughout this fight, you know, he's not really able to get too involved for the most part. And they're just kind of skirmishing back and forth, hitting each other's tanks. A nice ultimate is actually going to knock in Afro and take him out. And Stixxay, this is where he starts to come up big. He's able to push FLICKR now. He backs off. He's kiting back on Yellowstar, taking him down as well. He's winning multiple duels in this kind of 1v3 on the bot side of the fight that is allowing his team time to pick up the kills on the top side. And right here, as Bjergsen comes in, the headshot crit does fall, and with that, he's able to take out 2 people right there. And it was just, he played it so patiently. So many people would have gone in, tried to get the autos off early. He had to play it like this because if he ever gets caught by Bjergsen, he's going to get popped. He's going to die right away. So it was really, really patient play, great kiting, and just honestly super, super smart. They had vision on Bjergsen. He played it slow. He played it safe, and he got this team the win.
And that's one of the things about the LeBlanc matchup when you play it into a Caitlyn is all Caitlyn has to do mid-game, and you were talking about this while we were watching it, is just sit there, ace in the hole, and then LeBlanc is like half HP, and then she has to really think about how she's coming into that fight. And he did that at the start, and Bjergsen was looking for the flank, so there's nobody there to body block that shot. So at that point, he has to play much more carefully in these fights. So that despite Bjergsen playing in LeBlanc incredibly well, I actually don't agree with that pick in this. I think it was something that into the Echo, you know, he's just going to be able to TP back into that lane. And even if you go up in CS on him, he's still going to be able to survive. And you're looking for kill pressure on him, and it's not going to happen.
I want to come back to the LeBlanc point. Yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about pick bans. But I want you to now bring us full circle on this Caitlyn pick, because coming into Game 3, you had said if Stixxay can go even, that's what CLG needs to do. They need to get him in a position where he can be effective on this Caitlyn. And it came to fruition there in the last fight. He carries us through.
Yes, so the biggest thing here was actually they took an even more aggressive bot lane pick. The Morgana, it didn't really work out. It was like maybe an even-ish lane, and then even if they got a little bit behind, the double TPs really sealed in the deal for them. But instead they took Bard this time, a pick that's been banned by TSM this series, and then it wasn't picked in one of the games, so maybe they thought they were safe. But Afro's Bard is one of the best in NA, and he just showed it with how much lane dominance Caitlyn and Bard had in that lane, and the actual jungle dominance of getting a second rotation in Italy. I don't think if you're doing the jungle ban, like you're banning Kindred, but you're giving away like the better jungler, the best jungler. I think that's really weird.
Yeah, a lot of questions have to be raised, Irene, around a team that pinched jungles in the previous game and then is willing to pass up on the Nidalee when CLG passes on it first. I mean, what's going on with that?
I feel like when they ended up playing Nidalee, they didn't play it to the full effectiveness, and they were a little scared of that. I think the Graves success that TSM had seen was something they wanted to replicate and play once again. But into the Nidalee and the build that he went for, where it was kind of a bruiser build where he's able to jump in, and a lot of Nidalee's power budget is in the Cougar form. So I think that passing it up is okay, honestly, but I think that if you're going to first pick Gragas and Graves, maybe the Gragas is an Echo instead, because I don't know what you're taking the Gragas away from. You're already seeing Poppy, and if you're trying to pinch jungle again, well, you're leaving Nidalee up anyway. So you gave them 3 picks on CLG's side that were just really high priority, that you would see all 3 of those first pickable.
Azale, follow up on that?
Yeah, I just think a lot of it was just due to comfort. I think the FLICKR felt exceptionally comfortable on Graves. It didn't work out for them earlier, but I think the build adaptation that you were touching on, I think was really, really important. It allowed Xmithie to play more aggressively and participate a lot more in these team fights. I also think that it was really important in how they played the team fights out. Because they kind of spread out these team fights, they had multiple skirmishes. Nidalee was able to use her full kit and really get in there, with obviously the HP from the Rylai's, a little bit of armor, on the GA and the Iceborne Gauntlet and stuff. It allowed it to be like, the fights are broken up into these little 1v1s and 2v2s, and that's where Nidalee smashes. Nidalee does not succeed in the 5v5 fights, but the Echo was spreading things out, the Caitlyn kiting back, spreading things out, I think allowed Nidalee to be really effective.
We saw so many little mechanical things come into play in that final fight. As you mentioned, the ace in the hole coming in on Bjergsen very early. We saw that FLICKR and Zma never got popped because all the damage dealt to him was solely by Caitlyn, so he didn't even have the opportunity to heal off on the side of the fight. He was just running around in circles for about 15 seconds. Doublelift getting hit just by the edge of the Echo ult. That may have been able to save him. Here's TSM now on your screens. Game point for CLG, match point for CLG. So they've got to bring it for these next 2 games in order to take this series. That's what they're talking about right now. We'll see how they make adjustments to, let's say, the jungle pinching that happened. But of course, they are going to be returning to blue side. Yeah. Before we get into what they should do next game, I want to pull up our next replay. And this was actually a 1 fight by TSM, and if only to showcase what the casters were talking about, that even though the gold discrepancy was so large, this game seemed to be hinging on pretty much any fight, any time.
Yeah, and Yellowstar plays this fight perfectly. He's off on the right side, and his job is just to make sure Stixxay does not get his damage off. Zoning, soaking, and making sure that he can't do anything. Off on the left side, though, it's Svenskeren and Darshan just going head-to-head, and we're talking about these one-on-ones on the side and everything. And then Hanser there has to go over the wall. He gets the flash and the QSS out of Stixxay to try and avoid it. So now Stixxay, he just has full focus on him, and Yellowstar finally reaches him. So it's just playing this dance where Stixxay is hitting tanks 100% of this fight, where he's not able to actually get 2 priority targets and actually use his range advantage, because we see Darshan is not peeling for him. Darshan's trying to duel the jungler, so he doesn't have an effective front line that allows him to actually just be safe.
So this is one of those fights that illustrated that TSM can, they can win in team fights. I know, Scar, you feel that TSM is the team that needs to win games by team fights, that they don't necessarily have the tools in their toolbox to win a game in any other fashion.
It just seems to me that when TSM plays, you see how CLG wins a lot of the games. They win by split pushing. They're really, really good at split pushing, and they're really, really good at understanding how to TP flank and bringing the split pusher into a team fight and winning from there. They do team fight, of course, but they also have other avenues which they can win. But when you look at how TSM plays, I always feel like they just have to team fight to win. It's never like a split push possibility, because it eventually all comes down to whether or not they can out team fight the other team. A lot of times they can. As you can see by a lot of team fights in this game, they were 7K behind, still won the game. And their team fight it's so difficult. You look at how LeBlanc, I thought LeBlanc, by the way, was also kind of bad, because you're playing LeBlanc into Poppy and Caitlyn. Caitlyn notoriously one of the picks that has the longest range, so it's hardest to deal with as LeBlanc, and Poppy can cancel her W. So watch how Bjergsen plays the fight. He plays the fight so well and still can't really put that much game impact because the pick is just really hard to play.
I was going to say, it's super telling when Bjergsen is making highlight plays happen across the map, and yet you're still losing the game. So here's now the question. We're moving into game 4. CLG is in a good spot. All they need to do is win one more game. TSM, they're on their back foot. What are the changes we're looking for them to make going into game 3? Azale?
I mean, just piggybacking off of what Scar said, if you're a team fighting team, you should play a team fighting comp, right? We saw how well the Lulu worked out for them. It looked absolutely great. They had a better bot lane matchup in that game as well. I think you played your strengths. You play Bjergsen on a team fighting champion, and you just looked to out team fight them.
So is Lulu something that they could have taken in this game against an Echo mid lane? Is that something you would have been comfortable taking?
I actually think that's okay.
Okay.
I think it's okay. I'm not a 100%. I'll have to look at the draft again and just see how it would fit. It would be okay. I think that since they have double AD carry, it would be fine. He'd have to go for the offensive build again, where he gets Frost Queen's Claim, Lichbane, and making sure that he has enough damage to actually be the AP threat when they have 2 AD carries. I think it's fine.
I think against the Nidalee and the Echo, it would have been super effective, because if you dive in as these kind of AP assassins, Echo and Nidalee, and your target gets ulted and shield, you get whimsied perhaps even, there's a chance that you can die before you can actually get the Echo ult off, and also just the effective HP that in addition to a Kalista with all lifesteal items, makes it almost impossible for assassins to take them out, and that can really snowball fights. Pretty crazy.
So perhaps an adjustment they could have made for this game, but they need to be thinking about what they're going to do for next game. CLG are just 1 win away from a championship finish. Stick around to see if they'll close out the series or if TSM will take them to a game 5. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Yeah, we're definitely better at team fighting than them. No one is going to get stomped and just snowballed on. It's way more likely that the game will be decided by a team fight, even if a team is ahead.
Now a 4v5, into the back line goes who? He picks up Doublelift and it's right back out, but Darshan is still wreaking havoc in the backside. Graves, behind you guys.
They're on me,
Great splash.
Outside flash. You got him?
I'm alive.
No, I'm dead.
Just run.
Oh.
Look at
Go. Nice.
Caleb said. Keep going. Forward. Poppy.
This is madness, freak. No, it's Sparta, and it's Doublelift. They already dead, but it's Bjergsen getting the solo kill. What a beautiful play. Alternate.
Chase.
Yeah, I got
Puppy.
Fight up. I'm defending you, dude. Push.
I got him. Push with it. Yellow Star low as well. Double with the second kill of the fight. And there's another kill picked up on towards Hunter. Oh, Fixie with a triple kill. Counter Logic Gaming will lead the series 2-1.